I thought storms were just rain and wind, but that night, something else came with the thunder, something that wasn't human. I made one mistake. I stepped outside when I should have stayed in, and what I saw, what followed me, I still hear it scratching at my window. If you've ever felt uneasy during a storm, trust that instinct. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and don't forget to subscribe for more true horror stories you'll wish you never heard. Now, let me take you back to the night it all began. It was one of those quiet nights, the kind that almost feels too quiet. I live in a small town, just a few hundred people, mostly older folks, scattered houses, one diner that closes by 8, and a gas station that always smells like burnt coffee. My house sits near the edge of town, backed up against a stretch of woods that seems peaceful most of the time. That night, though, it didn't. I remember the rain starting slowly, tapping at the windows like it was asking to come in. It wasn't supposed to storm that night. I even checked the weather earlier, just cloudy, maybe some light showers. But the clouds rolled in fast, dark and low, like they were dragging something heavy with them. I was alone in the house. My parents were out visiting relatives, and I thought I was in for a chill night. Just me, some snacks, and a horror movie I'd seen a dozen times. It's kind of ironic now. The rain picked up quick. Within minutes it sounded like nails on the roof. The wind howled through the cracks in the siding, and I swear the whole house creaked like it was alive. I brushed it off at first. Old house, bad weather, no big deal. But then the power flickered. Just once. Then again. And again. Just enough to make the lights buzz and dim, like they were breathing. That's when I started to feel it. That weird, crawling sense that something wasn't right. My dog, Max, usually sleeps through anything. Storms, fireworks, even vacuuming. But not that night. He stood at the living room window, growling low at something outside. Ears perked, tail stiff. Every time the lightning flashed, he barked like crazy. I tried calming him down, scratching behind his ears, whispering it was just the storm. But he wouldn't move from that spot. He was staring at something out there, and whatever it was, it had his full attention. I got this sinking feeling in my gut, the kind you can't explain, only feel, like when you realize you've forgotten something really important, but you don't know what. Something about that night, the air, the rain, the way the lights flickered, it felt off, like the storm wasn't just weather, like it brought something else with it, and I was about to find out what. At first, I tried to ignore it, told myself I was just being dramatic. Storms mess with your head, right? The wind howls, the walls groan, shadows stretch longer than they should. But this wasn't just in my head. Things started happening, little things, that didn't make sense. The TV lost its signal. One minute I was watching some dumb late-night commercial, and the next, static. Not even the usual no signal message, just a flicker and then white noise. I grabbed the remote, clicked around, nothing. That weird buzzing sound filled the room, and I swear, just for a second, I heard something behind the static. A voice, faint, muffled, like someone whispering from far away. I turned the TV off fast. The silence after that felt worse. Then my phone lost service. No bars, no Wi-Fi, just that red X where the signal should be. I held it up, moved to different rooms. Nothing. I even walked toward the front window and tapped the glass, just to see if I could pick something up. But no matter where I went, it was dead. Completely cut off. Max was still at the window, still growling. He wasn't barking anymore, just this low, constant rumble in his chest, like he was trying to warn me but didn't want to draw attention. His body was tense, ears twitching at every sound. I leaned in beside him, squinting through the rain. I couldn't see anything at first, just darkness and sheets of water coming down. But then the lights flickered again, 3 quick blinks, and the power stayed out just long enough for me to feel truly alone. When it came back on, something changed. The porch light across the street, my neighbor's, was flashing. On, off. No pattern, just frantic, like it was shorting out. But every time it came back on, I thought I saw movement near their bushes. A shape, maybe. Tall, still, like it was just standing there, watching. And then I heard it, a voice outside my window. It said my name, not loud, not a shout, just a calm, almost sweet voice, like someone I knew, like someone pretending to be familiar. But the way it said it wasn't right. Too slow, too careful, like it was trying to mimic how a person speaks, but hadn't quite figured it out. I didn't answer. I didn't move. And neither did Max. I should have stayed inside. I keep telling myself that. If I just ignored it, pretended I heard nothing, maybe it would have moved on. Maybe it would have gone looking for someone else. But curiosity is a tricky thing. It makes you brave when you shouldn't be. Stupid even. The voice came again, still soft, still outside. Just one word. My name. But this time, it sounded closer. I backed away from the window and stood in the middle of the room, holding my breath, listening. Max had stopped growling. He was just staring now, tail down, ears low, his whole body shaking. I'd never seen him like that before, and I've had him since he was a pup. That should have been enough for me to realize something was really wrong. But instead, I opened the door. Only a crack, just enough to peek through. The air that rushed in was icy cold, sharp enough to sting. The rain hit my face like needles. It was pouring so hard, I could barely see anything. Trees swayed like they were trying to run away, and the wind carried this slow humming sound that didn't belong to anything natural. And then I saw it. At first, I thought it was a person. Just someone standing across the yard, near the edge of the woods. They were tall, too tall, lanky. Their limbs looked stretched like someone had pulled them out of proportion. And they weren't moving, just standing there perfectly still, like they were waiting for me to come closer. I didn't blink. I couldn't. I felt frozen. My brain kept trying to make sense of it. Maybe it was a tree, maybe a shadow, maybe my eyes playing tricks in the storm. But then the lightning struck, and in that flash of white light, it was closer. Not walking, not running, just suddenly there, at the edge of my driveway now. Same stance, same stillness, but closer by at least 20 feet. I slammed the door shut and locked every single bolt. My hands were shaking, heart pounding so loud I couldn't hear anything else. Max was barking again, this time frantic, wild, jumping at the door like he was trying to keep it out. But it didn't matter, because I had already made the worst mistake of my life. I had opened the door, and now it knew where I was. I backed away from the door like it might burst open at any second. My chest was tight. Every breath felt like it got stuck halfway in. Max circled me, barking, whimpering, barking again, like he couldn't decide whether to attack or hide. I didn't know what to do. Call someone. There was no signal. Wait it out. What if it didn't leave? Then the power went out. All at once. No flicker this time. Just gone. The house fell into silence so complete I could hear my own heartbeat thudding in my ears. The only light left came in short bursts through the windows, lightning cutting the sky into jagged shapes, lighting up the living room for just a second at a time. And in those moments, I saw things move. Not big things, not all at once, just shadows that weren't where they should be. A flicker of something in the hallway, a shape in the reflection of the dark TV screen. It wasn't standing outside anymore. I knew it. I felt it. It was in the house. I grabbed a flashlight from the drawer and turned it on, but it barely worked. The beam was weak and flickered every few seconds. I swept it across the room, into the kitchen, up the stairs. Nothing. But when I turned toward the hallway, I heard something. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from upstairs. I stood frozen at the bottom of the staircase, holding my breath, flashlight shaking in my hand. Max had stopped barking. Now he was staring up the stairs, teeth bared, but not growling. It was like even he didn't want to draw attention. Then one of the doors upstairs creaked open. Not slammed, not banged. Just a slow, dragging creak, like someone was pushing it with the back of their hand. I whispered to Max, trying to get him to follow me to the back door so we could run, but he wouldn't budge. His ears twitched and he took off, not toward the stairs, but into the kitchen. I followed, flashlight beam darting wildly. But when I turned the corner, he was gone. Just gone. The back door was still locked, no windows open, no broken glass, just an empty kitchen and a cold draft coming from somewhere. That's when I heard the whisper, right behind me, underneath the kitchen table, and it was saying my name again. I didn't look under the table. I couldn't. My whole body just locked up, like my brain was screaming, "Don't move," and my legs actually listened for once. I stood there, flashlight barely working, hand on the kitchen counter, frozen. The whispering continued. My name, over and over again, each time a little clearer, a little closer. It didn't sound human anymore. It was like someone trying to remember how to pronounce words, but getting it almost right. Then the bulb in the flashlight died completely. Pitch black. I fumbled behind me for the drawer, matches, candles, anything. But as soon as I turned my back, the whisper stopped. That silence, it was worse than the voice. I bolted, didn't think, didn't breathe, just ran straight for the front door, slipping on the floor, yanking the lock with the shaking hands. The second I pulled it open, the wind nearly knocked me over. Rain slammed into my face like it was trying to keep me inside, but I didn't care. I ran barefoot into the storm. The street was empty, completely still, except for the rain and wind. Every house dark, no lights, no movement. I looked back once, just once, and in the window upstairs, I saw it, that thing, my face, my exact face, staring down at me, smiling. I didn't stop running. My lungs burned, my legs ached, but I kept going. Down the road, past the diner, past the gas station. Every single building I passed was locked, dead. It was like the whole town had gone into hiding. And still, I could feel it following me. Not with footsteps, not even with sound. But I knew it was close. I'd catch a glimpse of something tall in the corner of my eye. But when I turned, it would be gone. Except, closer. No matter how far I ran, it was always closer. I ducked into alleyways, cut through yards, even tried banging on doors. But no one answered. I could see shadows moving inside. I know people were there, but they wouldn't open. Like they knew what was out there with me. Like they'd learned their lesson. just when I thought I couldn't run anymore. I saw it, an old boarded up house at the end of the road. One of those places kids say is haunted but never actually go near. But right then, it was my only shot. And so, I ran straight toward the one place no one dares to enter, because outside, something was wearing my skin. The front door gave way with barely a push. The wood was so rotted it just cracked apart under my hand. And the moment I stepped inside, the storm behind me felt like it got sealed out. No more wind, no more rain pounding my skin. Just silence, and the sound of my own breathing, sharp and shallow. It smelled like old wood, wet paper, and something metallic. The air was thick, stale, like the house hadn't been opened in years. I clicked my flashlight. Nothing. Still dead. I pulled out my phone out of habit, forgetting it was useless. Black screen. No signal. The place was a mess, dust everywhere, furniture broken and shoved against the walls, wallpaper peeling like it was trying to escape. But what caught my attention were the markings. On the walls, the doors, the floor. Dozens of them. Drawings, words, scratches. All done by hand. Some frantic, some neat. Messages scrawled over and over again in what looked like charcoal or ash. One sentence kept repeating, "Don't go outside during the storm. It wears your face." My heart dropped. I walked deeper into the house, every floorboard creaking under my weight. There were candles, burned down to nubs, lined along the hallway floor, as if someone had lived here, or tried to. There were more notes on the kitchen table, taped to the wall, stuffed in drawers. Pages from old journals, scribbled with panic. It doesn't knock. It doesn't need to. Storms are just the cover. If it sees you, it follows. If you open the door, it enters. I kept reading, flipping through a dusty stack of yellowed pages, hands shaking, eyes scanning like maybe one of them would tell me what to do next. Then I saw the newspaper clipping. It was old, crinkled, faded. Local teens vanished during unexplained storm. Two faces, smiling. Gone. Same town, same street, same storm. And that's when I heard it again. The front door creaked. Slow. Dragging. Just like upstairs in my house. I didn't need to look. I already knew what was standing in the doorway. I could feel its eyes on me. Watching. Waiting. And then it spoke. Not my name this time. Not a whisper. But my voice. Perfect. Calm. Confident. "There you are." It was the sound of my own voice that hit hardest. I've heard recordings of myself before, like on voicemails or videos. Everyone thinks they sound weird on tape. But this wasn't like that. This wasn't me. It was too perfect. Too smooth. Like someone had studied every little detail of how I talk, and then stripped out everything human from it. I didn't turn around. I wanted to. Every instinct said to look, to face it, to do something. But something deeper, something primal, told me that if I looked, really looked, it would be over. That's how it gets you. That's how it becomes you. I backed away, slow, toward the stairs. The boards groaned under my feet. Each creak felt like an alarm, but I kept moving. Upper, upper, upper. The voice followed. "Why are you running?" Still calm, still using my voice. And then, again, closer this time. "You let me in." It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even angry. That's what made it worse. It sounded satisfied. At the top of the stairs, I found a door, half open. I shoved it wide and locked myself inside. It was a bedroom, bare except for a bed frame and cracked mirror leaning against the wall. I shoved the frame against the door and stepped back, heart hammering. My reflection in that mirror. God, I wish I hadn't looked. Because it wasn't just me in the mirror. It was me, and another me, standing just behind, smiling. The doorknob turned once, twice, then slow, deliberate knocking. Knock, knock, knock. Then the silence. I held my breath. I didn't move. 10 seconds, 20, maybe longer. And just when I thought it was gone, it started mimicking everything. Footsteps across the floor, my breathing, even the way I whispered Max's name under my breath. It repeated it back to me, exactly. The same pauses, the same tone. It wasn't just copying me, it was learning me. That's when I remembered the notes downstairs, the ones left behind by someone else, someone who didn't make it. They said, you can't fight it, can't face it, but maybe you can trap it. I scanned the room. No exit, no window, just the closet. I pulled it open. Nothing inside but dust and a heavy, rusted latch on the inside. And I got an idea. A terrible, desperate, probably stupid idea. I don't remember falling asleep or blacking out or whatever it was. 1 second I was curled in that closet, holding the door shut with both hands, praying under my breath, like a kid. The next, it was morning. Sunlight poured through a crack in the boarded-up window. Dust floated in the air. The storm was gone. Completely. Like it had never happened. I waited a while before opening the closet door. I half expected me to be standing there on the other side, smiling again. But the room was empty. Quiet. Just birds chirping outside, and the wind moving through the trees like nothing had ever gone wrong. I walked out of the house. The sky was clear, bright. The streets were dry. Not a single puddle. No sign of the night before. I stood there for a full minute, trying to make sense of it. My phone buzzed, 1 bar, then 2. Messages and missed calls flooded in all at once. People were looking for me. I walked back home in a daze. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Like the storm had never happened at all. My front door was closed, locked. Max was there, waiting on the porch like he'd been out for a walk and just came back. When he saw me, he barked once, then ran straight to me, tail wagging, like it was just another morning. But something inside me still felt wrong. I checked the house. Everything was in place. No broken windows, no flipped furniture. The TV worked, the lights worked, but the kitchen table had a note sitting on it, in my handwriting. I never wrote it. It just said, don't open the door next time. And now sometimes when it rains, the power flickers, and I'll see a reflection of myself that takes just a second too long to move. Or I'll hear my name whispered from the other room when I know I'm alone. I keep the doors locked now, always. But I still wonder. That night, did I trap it? Or did it let me go? If you ever hear your name during a storm, don't open the door. They say some storms aren't natural. Some bring something else with them. If this gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and share it, so others know. Never go outside during a storm.